Now, I was curious what they did with Harry and Meghan's wax figures, so I found the museum employee who's temporarily storing.
It started with a smirk, a spotlight, and Conan O'Brien holding nothing back. In front of a live audience, he tore through Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's carefully crafted image with jokes so sharp even the camera crew couldn't stop laughing. One moment, he was teasing Harry's hairline. The next, he was mocking Meghan's endless need for attention, turning their royal drama into pure comedy gold. By the time he was done, the audience wasn't just laughing, they were cheering. So here's the question everyone's asking. Did Conan just say what the whole world's been thinking about Meghan Markle all along? The warm-up, bald jokes, and bloodlines.
Documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I fucking hate them.
Conan O'Brien knows exactly how to break the ice before unleashing a full roast. On that night, he started with the kind of humor that feels harmless at first. Teasing, clever, and just enough to get the audience on his side. He kicked things off with light jabs about Prince Harry's famously receding hairline, slipping in one of those quick one-liners that only Conan can pull off. The audience burst into laughter, and that was the cue. He had them. From there, Conan casually dropped the distant cousins joke about Harry and Meghan Markle, claiming they're related and that the Queen gave her blessing to keep the bloodline tight. The timing, delivery, and mock seriousness made it even funnier. It was cheeky, slightly edgy, but never mean. Exactly the kind of setup you need before diving into sharper material. What made this opener so smart is how Conan disguised the roast as casual humor. It wasn't a personal attack yet. It was observational, familiar, the kind of joke even the royals might laugh at. But it planted the seed for something bigger. The bloodline gag hinted at the royal family's obsession with heritage, while the hair jokes poked fun at the very image of royalty itself, polished, but very, very human underneath. By turning their sacred royal image into something everyday and funny, Conan stripped away the seriousness that often surrounds Meghan and Harry's drama. The audience wasn't watching royals anymore, they were watching just another couple that could be teased like everyone else. That's the genius of Conan's setup. The jokes about hair and family weren't random, they were calculated. They made the audience comfortable enough to laugh at Harry and Meghan without guilt. By the time Conan moved on to the real roast, the crowd was already primed to find humor in their chaos, and that's what makes small jokes powerful. They set the tone. They don't just make people laugh, they make people ready to laugh harder when the real punchlines hit. Conan wasn't just joking about hairlines, he was softening the blow for what was coming next. The wax figure sketch, when royalty gets moved to storage.
Have generously offered to keep the wax figures of Harry and Meghan safe while the royal family drama gets worked.
Then came the moment that stole the night. The infamous wax figure sketch. Conan shifted gears from small jokes to full-blown comedy gold. He told viewers that Madame Tussauds in London had removed Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wax figures from the royal family display, a story that's true enough to sound absurd. But instead of stopping there, Conan turned it into a mock interview with Oliver Gray, a fictional museum employee who'd graciously agreed to keep the wax figures safe in his home. That's when the humor took on a life of its own. Oliver appeared as this overly passionate, slightly unhinged man who adored the wax figures a little too much. With a straight face, he declared, "I treat them better than the museum ever did. They didn't appreciate Meghan's soft hands or Harry's supple lips." Conan's reaction was priceless. Deadpan disbelief mixed with that signature smirk. It was weird, awkward, and absolutely hilarious. And when Oliver mentioned accidentally putting the wax couple in his hot tub, Conan's comedic instincts took over completely. The banter flowed naturally, like two friends riffing over something ridiculous. The audience couldn't stop laughing, and the sketch became an instant classic. But behind all the absurdity, the joke carried a clever subtext. The wax versions of Harry and Meghan, silent, still, and unbothered, were being treated with more affection and care than the real people ever received. That irony wasn't lost on anyone. In a way, the sketch symbolized Meghan's entire media journey, carefully polished on the outside but falling apart the second someone looked too close. Conan didn't need to lecture or moralize. The comedy did the talking. The wax figures stood for the fake PR polished image Meghan often tries to project, while Oliver's bizarre obsession mirrored how the media and her fans sometimes worship her for all the wrong reasons. What made the sketch so effective is how effortlessly it blended humor with commentary. It was absurd, yes, but also sharp, poking fun at the couple's public image without ever mentioning it directly. When Conan joked that even the wax version had softer hands and higher approval ratings, it was both funny and brutally true. Meghan's real-life reputation was sinking, but her wax replica had become an unexpected crowd favorite. That's where Conan's comedy hits hardest. He says what people are already thinking, but makes it sound like entertainment instead of judgment. In a weirdly poetic way, the sketch captured Meghan's public paradox. The fake version of her was adored, uncontroversial, and silent. Everything her critics wish she'd be. The real version, constantly speaking out, defending, and branding, keeps ending up in hot water, literally and metaphorically. Oliver's line about putting the wax figures in his hot tub might have been a joke, but it hit like a metaphor. Meghan's brand has been boiling for years, and every time she tries to cool it down, it just gets hotter. The roast escalates. Jam, jokes, and American life.
Jam. and tiny yogurts.
What? He works for Meghan Markle.
Just when you thought Conan O'Brien had exhausted every punchline possible, he cranked it up another level. And this time, he brought Ryan Reynolds along for the ride. What started as a harmless roast about hairlines and wax figures suddenly evolved into a full-blown commentary on how far Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had fallen from royal grace. Conan and Ryan teamed up in one of those effortless moments where comedy meets truth, joking that Harry had gone from a decorated prince to a food broker for Meghan's jam brand. The way they delivered it was priceless. Ryan casually dropped the setup, and Conan slammed the punchline home. He works for Meghan Markle now.
Harvestable jams.
Yes, exactly.
Made from the oils of Montecito.
If Jimbo Reynolds wasn't dead, I would say he is Meghan Markle. Adjacent.
Many people.
The crowd erupted because it didn't feel like just a joke. It felt like something that could actually be true. And that's where the brilliance of Conan's humor shines. He wasn't inventing fantasy. He was stretching reality just far enough to make it ridiculous. After all, Meghan's real-life jam business, American Riviera Orchard, had already become the internet's favorite meme, with its tiny jars and luxury packaging. By turning it into a metaphor for Harry's new career, Conan and Ryan transformed an awkward PR move into comedy gold. Their timing was razor sharp. Ryan played the part of the straight man, pretending to genuinely wonder what Harry's doing these days, and Conan swooped in with mock sympathy, suggesting the prince was now brokering jars of jam and tiny yogurts. It was one of those rare jokes that managed to be hilarious and painfully accurate at the same time. The image of a royal selling artisanal jam in California kitchens summed up the absurdity of Harry and Meghan's Hollywood chapter better than any op-ed could. Conan didn't need to rant about privilege or hypocrisy. The comedy said it all. And what really made this roast sting was its truth beneath the laughter. It reflected the reality of the couple's transformation, from royal duties and global causes to podcasts, brand deals, and lifestyle ventures that constantly seemed to backfire. The humor hit because it was rooted in fact. Meghan really did launch a luxury jam brand. Harry really did step away from royal life with the promise of independence, only to spend most of his time tied to her projects. It's that delicate blend of reality and exaggeration that made the segment unforgettable. Conan kept his trademark charm, smiling as he delivered the lines, but behind the grin was sharp commentary on how the once royal duo turned their story into an endless marketing campaign. That's what separates Conan from other late-night hosts. His humor always carries a message. He wasn't just mocking Meghan and Harry for laughs, he was pointing out how they've become symbols of what happens when image replaces authenticity. They fled the monarchy to escape media control, yet here they are, running their own brand-driven monarchy in Los Angeles. The joke was friendly on the surface, but underneath it was surgical, a reflection of how fame can turn even the most royal life into a punchline. The late-night army joins in Fallon, Colbert, Noah, and co.
How's he doing?
Not so good.
Well, guys, give him time, okay?
Conan may have started the royal roast, but soon it felt like every late-night host in America wanted in on the fun. One by one, the comedy world lined up their shots at Meghan and Harry, turning what used to be royal headlines into pure entertainment. Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, and Trevor Noah all joined the unofficial Roast of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, each bringing their own signature style. And none of them held back.
Day, and the Tonight Show host quickly agreed. Jimmy Kimmel, by the way, is on vacation, totally off the grid. But Conan O'Brien also agreed right away to join in. The entire Open was shot yesterday afternoon, and I think it's so clever. Bravo to all three.
Jimmy Fallon took aim first, going straight for the heart of Buckingham Palace's public relations. When the palace released its carefully worded statement about the Oprah interview, the one that said, "While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously," Fallon translated it perfectly. "We're sorry you feel this way. So we good?" It was the kind of dry, sarcastic humor that said more than any journalist could. Fallon made royal diplomacy sound like a passive-aggressive text message, and the audience howled. Then he added his twist, saying the statement might have felt more sincere if it hadn't ended with, "So we good." That single line nailed the absurd mix of politeness and denial that defines royal peer. Stephen Colbert followed suit, bringing his intellectual mischief into the mix. He mocked Meghan and Harry's personal nicknames, M and H, treating them like over-branded reality show characters. Then, in classic Colbert fashion, he auditioned himself as the next royal replacement, saying, "I can wave backwards, I'm highly motivated, and I've never met Jeffrey Epstein." It was biting, self-aware, and exactly the kind of humor late-night fans crave. Jokes that expose the ridiculousness of royal celebrity while still feeling clever. Then came Trevor Noah, and he brought a whole new energy. Trevor's humor is sharp, global, and unfiltered. And when he tackled Meghan and Harry, he didn't just roast them, he dissected them. He joked that Meghan had brought the first black woman energy into the royal family, looking at Harry and saying, "You need a job." The crowd exploded in laughter because it was such a perfect reflection of what people imagine their dynamic to be. A former prince trying to survive in Los Angeles under the guidance of a woman who's all ambition and branding. Trevor also joked about their son Archie, imagining him growing up to say, "So we used to be in the royal family, and now I'm working at Burger King?" It was hilarious, but beneath the joke was a truth about how fame, privilege, and rebellion can all collapse into irony. What made all these roasts matter isn't just the humor, it's what they represent. Meghan and Harry stopped being seen as untouchable royals or tragic victims. They became public figures open to parody. When comedians like Fallon, Colbert, and Noah start turning you into recurring material, it means your image has shifted from serious to symbolic. The couple's story, once treated as a royal scandal, has officially entered pop culture's joke cycle. Why this is more than just a roast? There's something deeper going on beneath the laughter. Conan O'Brien didn't just roast Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for cheap laughs. He did something far more interesting. Through his humor, he reflected exactly what the world has been feeling about them for years. That their story, once inspiring and even rebellious, has slowly turned into a spectacle. What makes Conan's approach so brilliant is that he didn't have to spell it out. Every punchline, every sarcastic smirk carried an undertone that said, "You've made your life into content. We're just responding." At its core, Conan's roast wasn't just about Meghan's brand or Harry's new Hollywood identity. It was about authenticity, or the lack of it. Meghan and Harry built their public image around being misunderstood, mistreated, and determined to tell their truth. But as time passed, that truth became a product. From Netflix specials to Spotify deals, podcasts, and jam jars, it started to look like every confession came with a contract. Conan captured that shift with humor sharper than any headline could. When he joked about Harry becoming a food broker or Meghan's wax figure getting more affection than the real person, he wasn't just being funny, he was holding up a mirror. The irony of Meghan and Harry's situation is that they left the royal family to escape being controlled by the press, yet they now depend on that same attention to stay relevant. They criticize the media, but also feed it with carefully curated interviews and brand rollouts. Conan and other comedians saw that contradiction and turned it into a running joke. And it works because it feels true. When someone tries too hard to be relatable or righteous, the audience eventually stops buying it. And comedy steps in to expose it. That's the real tension here. Meghan and Harry see themselves as advocates, using their fame to fight for mental health, equality, and social change. But the late-night world sees something else. Two people who turn those serious causes into a never-ending performance. It's not that people don't believe in the issues they promote, it's that they no longer believe them. Conan didn't have to make a political statement to show that. All he had to do was make people laugh at the disconnect between their words and their actions. Comedy has always had a strange relationship with truth. When someone becomes too self-serious or tries too hard to shape their image, comedians instinctively step in to pop the bubble. That's what happened here. Meghan and Harry have spent years trying to control how people see them, from royal victims to Hollywood visionaries, but Conan stripped all that away with one-liners and sketches. He reminded everyone that at the end of the day, the public doesn't owe them sympathy. They owe them honesty, and sometimes that honesty comes in the form of laughter. Of course, not everyone saw it that way. Some people online accused Conan of being mean-spirited or punching down. They argued that Meghan and Harry had faced enough media abuse, and mocking them only fueled the negativity. There's truth in that perspective too. Comedy, especially when it targets real people, always walks a fine line. But what made Conan's take different was the tone. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't trying to destroy them. His jokes didn't come from hate, they came from observation. He treated Meghan and Harry not as victims, but as public figures who'd entered the entertainment world willingly. Once you start branding your personal life, you can't be surprised when comedians turn that brand into material. The backlash also revealed something fascinating about modern celebrity culture. We live in a time when public figures can't decide whether they want to be activists or influencers, victims, or entrepreneurs. Meghan and Harry embody that confusion perfectly. They want privacy, but film documentaries. They want authenticity, but rely on PR scripts. They want compassion, but keep selling their own pain as a product. That's the contradiction Conan tapped into, and it's why his roast hit harder than any tabloid headline. What's even more interesting is how Conan's delivery made the entire thing palatable. He never yelled or mocked viciously. He just smiled, played it straight, and let the humor land naturally. That's why the jokes worked. Because he didn't seem angry, just amused. It's the difference between cruelty and comedy. A cruel person wants to hurt you. A comedian wants to make you see the irony in what you're doing, and Conan made everyone see it. He took what had become an exhausting royal narrative and turned it back into entertainment. The same story that people had rolled their eyes at for months suddenly felt funny again. It reminded the audience that the Meghan and Harry saga isn't just about trauma and titles. It's about how modern fame devours itself. You can try to control your image, but the moment it feels fake, people will find ways to laugh at it. That's not cruelty, that's reality. And maybe that's why this roast resonated so much. It wasn't just Conan being funny, it was him giving people a way to process the absurdity. For years, Meghan and Harry have tried to be serious about everything, but Conan reminded everyone that sometimes, laughter is the only honest reaction left. His jokes carried weight because they were grounded in truth. He didn't mock them for who they are. He mocked the contradiction they represent. A couple caught between royalty and reality, authenticity and attention. If you think about it, that's what makes Conan such a master of his craft. He doesn't need outrage or insults, he just needs irony. By making people laugh at Meghan and Harry's contradictions, he said what many have been thinking all along. The more they chase control, the more they lose it. Comedy, in that moment, became the great equalizer. Royals, celebrities, or not. Everyone's fair game once the lights come on and the jokes start rolling. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.